Crash Bandicoot. I honestly can't wait for the remakes of the first 3 games to be released. But in the meantime, we'll have to survive with the old games, so today we're taking a look at the top 10 Crash Bandicoot levels. A couple of little disclaimers before we start though. I didn't include GBA games and racing games. I also left out Twinsanity and Mind Over Mutant, because well, you know. Jungle Rumble. Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. The thing about this stage is, it doesn't do anything particularly well. Then again, it doesn't screw anything up either. It's a perfectly mediocre level. Then why is it on the top 10 Crash Bandicoot levels list? And it's because this level shows what Crash Bandicoot is all about. More specifically, this level combines the feeling and the gameplay we knew from the first 3 Crash games and added in the new mechanics without them feeling out of place. There's a lot of stages in this game that do that, but this level also has the atmosphere of a Crash game, more than any of the others do. I honestly think that Wrath of Cortex still belongs with the good Crash Bandicoot games. I mean, after these, shit went downhill for sure, but stages like this remind me that this game has plenty of fun to offer. Dynamite. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Ballers in Crash Bandicoot 1, Polar Bears in Crash Bandicoot 2. The only thing to step that up would be dinosaurs. And that's exactly what happens in this stage. This stage is not just a whole level where you are being chased by a dinosaur though. No, this combines the chase sequences with normal 2D and 3D platforming. This gives you a nice balance and also gives you some time to calm down before you get into the next chase sequence. Altogether, it's a great design decision. There's also a section where you get to ride a baby dinosaur. That may or may not have something to do with the fact that this stage is on the list. Unlike dinosaurs, I really do. Tomb Raider. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Another Crash 3 stage on this list. The main reason for this level being on the list is its name, Tomb Raider. It's a great pun on Tomb Raider, of course. In all seriousness though, it is a pun on Tomb Raider, and a wader is also this thing, which is apparently worn by fishermen. You might think, what does that have to do with anything? And I'm glad you asked, because this stage has a mechanic where there's rising water, which is both genius and annoying as hell. You see, the stage is designed in such a way that it's not that hard to get to a save point in time before the water rises, but it's also possible to almost never stop moving and jump from one place to the other, never even touching the water. That by itself is great design, but it also triggers me to speedrun the stage and well, I can't. That's not a game's fault, that's just me being very incompetent. But by failing so many times, I've started to appreciate this a hell of a lot more. Also, the title of the stage is a pun. Just saying, it helps. Gee whiz, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. I promise, this whole list won't be Crash Bandicoot 3 levels, but for right now, this stage is awesome. Not when you look at it by itself, but in context of the game, it mirrors the first stage of the game very well. You've beaten the entire first world of the game and now you're ready to get into the second world. To start the second world you get thrown into a level which resembles the very first stage of the game. This time though, there's some more enemies added in, and it's longer and all around more difficult. This shows you perfectly how far you've come since you've started your adventure. The difficulty curve is not something you can feel in this game, but in stages like this it becomes apparent that it is still there. Also, it's set during Twilight. Not a movie. I like the orange colours in the sky, and I can only hope that in the remakes they do some really awesome stuff with shadows. But that's my inner filmmaker influencing my opinion, I guess. Still awesome though. Fahrenheit Frenzy. Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. You see, a game that's not Crash Bandicoot 3. This stage takes the jetpack stages from Crash Bandicoot 2, makes them a little bit more playable, and actually adds in normal platforming sections too. As a matter of fact, the jetpack portion of the stage is rather short. Just like with Dynamite, I really liked when the game changed the gameplay up a little bit. Not just from stage to stage, but in the stages themselves. That way the whole game flows better and it doesn't feel like the gimmicks break up the pacing in the game and they feel like they actually belong there, rather than being out of place like they do in Crash Bandicoot 3. This is not the only stage that does that in Wrath of Cortex, but it's a stage that does that and is still really good in general. This stage has it all. A fun, short, gimmicky opening, 2D and 3D platforming, And visually this stage really takes full advantage of the fact that Crash is now on a new console generation. During one part of the stage you walk behind an X-ray machine and you can see Crash's skeleton for a little bit. It's also really hard to see the difference between a normal box or a Nitro box or a TNT box during that part. All around, a really well designed stage. Orion Express, Crash Bandicoot 3, Warped. I like this kind of stage. There's the peak stages in Crash Bandicoot 1, the Polar Bear stage in Crash Bandicoot 2, and then there's the Pura stages in Crash 3. The thing with this stage though is, it's the first one in the game, so it's not too hard, but it's still fun to play. The Pura stages are set on the Great Wall of China, while it's being built. And I still don't know how they managed to get so many things happening on screen at any given time on a PlayStation 1. The background is one thing, that's just an image of course, but there's builders and dragons and of course yourself, added to the fact that you're moving very quickly. To this day though, I have still not been able to complete the Platinum Relic Challenge. Because this stage might be fun and pretty and not all that hard to complete, but the skill ceiling is high. Like, real high. The Platinum Relics are really hard to get in general, but I honestly don't know how I could be any faster on this stage. Some things are just not meant to be, I guess. The High Road, Crash Bandicoot. I bet you were probably wondering if Crash Bandicoot 1 was going to make an appearance on this list. And honestly, while writing the script for this, I was surprised to include this game at all, because I don't really like it. This stage though is different. If you excuse the bullshit rules about no death to get a gem, which is an issue with the game, not with this stage, and you look at the stage in a vacuum, it's actually really fun. The atmosphere is the main thing which draws me to this stage. A bridge in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by fog, jumping from broken platform to broken platform. There's not much more to this stage, but I still like it. I can't really tell you why I like it, but I promise you, if you play this stage, you will understand. Slippery Climb, Crash Bandicoot. Half of you think this is a joke. The other half is already trying to figure out where I live so they can murder me. But hear me out. Just like with the last stage, look at this one in a vacuum, not in the context of the game. The stage itself is really well designed and honestly, not as bad as people make it out to be. Yes, it is really hard, but some people seem to think that this is the hardest stage in platforming history, which it really isn't. Yes, doing this without a single death is a really scary idea, and I'll give you that, it's damn near impossible to do. But if you don't care about the gem and you're just playing through the stage, it's pretty good. Even getting all the boxes wouldn't be a problem if you were allowed to die. This stage gives you plenty of lives, so coming out of the stage you probably should have more lives than you had going into them. Or at least just as many. The only thing I don't understand is why this isn't the last stage in the game. It makes sense. The atmosphere is fitting, you're climbing up to the top of the mountain where Cortex's lab is, and it's the hardest stage in the game. This is another stage I will be looking forward to playing in the remake. I'll be playing it a lot, because I'll be dying a lot. Cortex Vortex, Crash Bandicoot, Wrath of Cortex. I was tempted to make this the number 1 of the list for 2 reasons. I really like this stage, and it would be fitting to have a final stage as the number 1 on the list. But I like the actual number 1 just a bit more, so Cortex Vortex sits here at the number 2 spot. The whole game has been leading up to this, and you can tell, the game designers pulled everything out to make one epic final stage, and you pretty much have to use all the abilities you've gotten throughout the game, and your skill actually gets tested. Not by being ultra hard all of the time, but in a way, it almost feels like Trials. You have a somewhat normal and almost laid back stage, but there's some really hard shit thrown in there every now and then, which you need to do to progress. Then, when you get to the end of the stage, there's 3 Aku Aku masks there waiting for you, so you're going to get that invincibility no matter what. Then you can run through a field of Nitro boxes, which is unbelievably satisfying. Altogether, this stage has it all. I think this is the best stage in the Crash Bandicoot series. Yes, it is number 2 on this list, but from a design perspective, this is certainly the best. However, there is one stage I like more personally. Totally Bare, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. For all of the people losing their shit because you haven't seen a Crash Bandicoot 2 stage yet, here you go. It may not have been the one you were expecting though, but it is my favorite stage in not only Crash Bandicoot 2, but the whole series. So you take a Polar Bear Cup, you jump on it and you ride it, but here's the twist. You're in darkness. Yes, this stage is mostly about memorizing the layout of the stage. The thing I love about these kind of stages is that once not only your brain but also your muscles know it, you won't ever lose the ability to complete this stage. Muscle memory is a funny thing. I hadn't played this game for a couple of years, but when I got back to the stage, I did it in a couple of tries and without much difficulty at all. It's rather hard when you don't know what you're doing, and that's an experience you probably won't ever get after completing it first time, since you have now developed a certain amount of muscle memory for it. It's a little bit sad that you won't ever be able to replay the stage for the first time, but then again, that goes for a lot of things in life. Or in gaming, I should probably say. Thanks for watching my top 10 Crash Bandicoot levels. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like below this video and also subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my newest content. In the meantime, you can click the thumbnail on the top to watch my in retrospect on Pokemon Gold, and the thumbnail on the bottom to watch my in retrospect on Rayman 2. Until the next time, I have a vlogger, you have been awesome as always. Bye.